Hello traders and welcome to the Weekly Outlook and Setups Volume 109. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm super happy to have you here. And as you probably know, in this video we're going to have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities did we have, and what we can potentially expect for the upcoming week. So this week I haven't taken any trades because I'm on a little summer vacation, so I won't be trading for around 2 to 3 weeks. Just have to take a little bit of a step back from the market, work a little bit on the mental side of things as well. And of course, it's always good to take a little bit of a break, especially in the summertime, because usually the market gets a little bit too slow. Yes, of course, there are tons of opportunities. My community crushed it as always, but of course, sometimes it's better to step aside a little bit to refresh your mind, to go spend some time, because we've been working like mad, right? Since the corona crisis hit, I haven't taken any break. It's constant hustle, constant trading, and of course, the results are extreme. But sometimes, as I keep saying, it's always good to step aside a little bit to refresh and then come back much stronger. So this video, I'm gonna keep it shorter, straight to the point, straight analysis, and potentially to let you know what my forecast is. And yep, if you're new to this channel, it's all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I share an educational piece of content or a trade setups breakdown video. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on the notification bell in order not to miss any of those. And before we start, I want to mention that I've been messing with some cryptos, and I do it with Forex.com. It's an amazing broker that has low commissions and low spreads, but if you choose the Eco account, every lot traded goes towards planting 10 trees. So I really think that's an amazing initiative. So make sure to check the broker out, register, and start planting trees. All right. So if you already did, let's see what do we have for this week. Alright, as always, starting with a DXY to potentially have a look where the dollar could go next week. So as you can see, actually the market is still running. We have 5 hours till the market closes, but tomorrow morning we are going to depart for the sea very early, so I won't have access to the PC. So here I am recording this outlook on Friday. No excuses. So if you remember from previous outlooks, of course, we have mentioned that the dollar is currently pretty bullish. And the next point of liquidity, which is kind of just an old high, is right there at around 93,500. So definitely I would expect the market to actually at least fake above this level before we initiate a pullback, because as we start dropping lower, we overall had a bullish week, but nothing too much. As you can see, the market opened right there on the 19th of July, like we had a pump up, pulled back, then we opened up, tried to push, failed, then we had actually a spike above, we tried to break lower, but then on Thursday, we had this very nice liquidity grab to the downside, which looks like it created the higher low formation, and then today, of course, not much movement at all. And what is really nice to point to your attention is that we're starting to move within this kind of compressed price action, which I don't like. And usually what happens is we're going to have an expansion where, well, either to the upside or to the downside. But of course, we can have some sort of a manipulation and then we can develop something like this. So definitely let's see. As I told you, currently we are reacting from this supply. And we've been tapping right here for we first filled the gap right there. The market tried to react but failed to break lower. And if you still drop to the 4-hourly time frame, we have never had a lower low, which basically simply means that we are still technically pretty bullish. There is that little demand area, the market perfectly tapped, pushing to the highs, created a higher high. We pulled back beautifully to create a higher low. This week actually opened somewhere right here, and we straight opened up with a massive pump up. So basically this week wasn't entirely clear. I was monitoring for some opportunities, but nothing really made too much sense to me. And basically, yes, this week we have this sort of price action. From here, the market moved up, then we had this little pullback, which potentially tapped into this higher low, which made the most sense to me, but it didn't really tap inside it. As you can see, I actually have my alerts where I could potentially want to go long on the dollar and short on EU. But yes, we just spiked right here, and right now where are we? We're kind of in the middle. Okay, so basically if we just draw our most recent structural levels, there they are. This is our high and this is our higher low right now. So there is a little bit kind of a minor structure right now, because if we drop to the hourly time frame, you can see that this is when your intraday stuff comes in, guys. Okay, so basically the hourly time frame is for behavior. What is the market doing? So we had a beautiful higher high, cool, then we pull back higher low, then the market tries to break above. But if you also covered my free course, you will know that as long as we don't have a body close above those wicks, this is not a break. Okay, so we have this massive bearish engulfing candle that also broke very minor structure. If we start going to the lower time frames as well, pull back lower high, and this is when we had this massive sell-off. So basically what the market wanted to do, if this is our major low, this is our major high, the market wanted to dip below the 50% to grab liquidity, to grab orders, and then to potentially move higher. Okay, so this is just building up the story for this week, and currently 2 levels to monitor. Actually, as I'm on the hourly time frame right now, I would love to mark this big wick right there. Okay, so basically this of course is an hourly demand. So what I want you to do, guys, is during the week, just do this 1 hourly demand or something like this, text alignment, whatever on the right, something like this. Name your zones, because then as you start the day or as you start the week, you want to know what you have analyzed. Okay, of course, if you trade 2 pairs, you're always going to know your levels, but if you trade a lot of pairs, I would really kind of advise you to also write some thoughts right here on the screen, or just have your levels. But basically my very simple analysis for the DXY is I expect bullishness. For me, this market hasn't reversed yet. It's very important to mark the high as well. This is our higher high. As for our higher low, this is not yet a higher low. All right, why? Because it hasn't broken the structure above. So I will still drop this as my major higher low, and potentially I would expect the market to maybe pull back inside this demand to do its thing. Maybe it's even gonna tap inside this level, and then from there I'm gonna be looking to see if the market is actually gonna reverse higher. So of course, let's see how Monday is going to play out. Let's see how Tuesday is going to play out. But I still remain bullish on the dollar just because from a simple technical perspective, we are bullish. And potential levels for reactions are this hourly demand and then potentially this full hourly demand, which hasn't been retested yet. Okay, so we can definitely drop below this level right there to fake below this wick and then to potentially see the reversal formation. But DXY overall bullish. The question is, where are we going to take a long from? And only the market is going to show us. So let's as always flow and let's see what next week has for us. Let's have a look at my favorite pair, Mr. Euro USD. So again, once more, we have a bearish week. Although if you have a look at the weekly candle, it's not that big. So we didn't have that much move this week. And if I measure it, well, guys, it's 80 pip move the whole week. So nothing really major. So as you can see, the market is definitely starting to slow down. And again, what do I expect is a break of this level, because this is the most recent low that the market is potentially going to target. And of course, as we have this shift right here from the top, it definitely makes sense for the market to potentially continue lower, okay, on the weekly time frame. So let's see how that's gonna go. Dropping onto the daily time frame again, you can see 5 days of really struggle, man. Look at that. So we started right here, wick up, wick down. Then we wick down, pull back. Then we kind of wick down, try to push up, but fail. And then on Thursday, again, we have this big wick where we had a lovely short. We pushed to the downside, and Friday closes once again as an indecision. So really starting to slow down, and very similar to the DXY, we have this kind of compression right here, guys. So once you see this, there is going to be an expansion somewhere, because right now this is like trapping people. It's also kind of a flag formation. Everybody will be looking to trade. So definitely I would expect something. So make sure you're always aware of your economic calendar as well, because this week we had quite some Euro news and we have quite some big wicks and quite some great opportunities, right? So if you remember from the previous week, this was actually the lower high that we had, and I was expecting the market to tap inside. But as we opened, we immediately started flushing down. And this flush down did not create a clear lower low. So for me, it was still kind of unclear. There were potentially longs to be taken right here. Then we massively pump into the highs, took the liquidity above those little highs right here, which is basically kind of stock highs. We take above them, then we try to push down, and we try to push down again. Then the market actually reverses, gives us a long right there. I had a lot of people that took the long from there and then the short from there, okay, which was basically this very nice supply area. We had a massive sell-off, and then today also a consolidation. So just from the 4 hourly time frame, guys, this demand level, supply still hasn't been perfectly tapped inside, okay? And also inside this big wick, there is a lot of orders left as well. So if you start doing your top-down analysis, mark those levels like this and then start dropping lower. Okay, a little tip, drop on the 2 hourly. Okay, still a lot of wicks. Then drop to the hourly time frame. And what you're gonna start seeing is that you can potentially start refining your levels. Okay, this is a big 4 hourly level, but as you can see, we still have this kind of zone right here. And as you start dropping even to the lower time frames, you're gonna see those unretested zones. And basically the market can still come and target those levels, okay? And as you can see right there on the hourly, we have this big buy right there that took all the liquidity, and then we had a massive sell-off that did not really break major structure. So currently, if you have actually a clear look at EU, it is a complete mess, all right? But of course, if you drop to the magical time frames of the 1 minute, then you're gonna have plenty of opportunities. I remember there was a beautiful long right there, another beautiful long right there. So two beautiful longs on that day, 21st. I don't remember which one it was. Then I had neighbors taking longs from right here as well. Like we first manipulated up, then we manipulated down, then we jumped into the highs. And then also we had the shorts right here. If you drop to the 1 minute, there is a beautiful short right there. So go and examine it, right? And yes, basically right now for EU, I am definitely sell bias, okay? But similar to the DXY, I'm gonna expect a pullback. Where to? Well, potentially I showed the two levels. I'm either gonna expect 50% to be fulfilled of that wick. So basically what you can do is drop 50% like this, then drop a line like that, and of course name it, okay? Double click 50% of wick so that you know what you're looking at, okay? Be organized. And the next level is actually gonna, if the market is actually gonna take out this high, then potentially I'm gonna be looking for my last resort, which is still this little supply. So this week I'm gonna be looking for the market to create a lower high, somewhere right here, then to clearly show me that it wants to reverse down, and then to potentially start seeing a lower low, because right now we have, where is that thing? We have all of these lows right there stacked like this. So a lot of people are perceiving this as a big supportive level. So everybody's buying right now thinking that EU has found the bottom, but I definitely think we still have more downside because the market has to go and take out something on the left. Because currently we're reacting from this whole range right here. But as you can see, we tapped first, we tapped twice, 3 times, 4 times. So the orders just get absorbed, they get taken out, and whatever is left right there is no longer left. And we see clearly that the market is trending to the downside. So definitely I am sell bias on EU. So basically I'm looking for the pullback, either to this hourly level. You can also drop to the 30 minute. There it is. Actually, exactly this line resonates with this last bearish candle before the move down. That also broke structure. Right now we have this consolidation. So a very nice play will be the market to open bullish, then to reverse down. But of course, let's see guys. And as I always say, make sure to flow with the market and trade what you see. Let's have a quick look at Euro Yen, which looks pretty bullish, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is because UJ is also pumping to the upside, okay? So if we carefully follow structure on the weekly right there is not entirely clear, but the most recent kind of pullback that makes sense is this one right here. So we had this massive impulse to the upside, then we have 2 weeks of a pullback that kind of created those big wicks that create this kind of weekly zone. And then we tried to impulse, we kind of consolidate, and then we actually made the high. Okay, and since then we pulled back, we tried to find support right there, we failed to find support, we actually dipped lower, and right now we're exactly at that level, which is also 129 key zone. Okay, so EJ is slightly 50-50, and although we have been trending down for quite some time, yes, EJ is definitely bearish for quite some time, and also as we are intraday traders, we definitely go short. And right now it's in a really tricky situation because as we start dropping to the 4-hourly time frame, we can clearly see that we have a lower high, major lower high right there. So let's mark it out like this. Also right click, major lower high, make sure to do that, do your homework. Then we have a massive pump to the downside. This little candle right there also created some sort of a base. And if I actually drop it, you can see that the market reacted from it right here. But then we just failed, and then we actually pump into the highs. We tap this level, we try to pull back, we create again a higher low, then we try to break above, we fail, we pull back, but we still don't bring any major structure. And according to me, this little candle right there does not make that structure too major. So perfectly for me, this one is right now my higher low right there. And why is this a higher low? Because we're reversed. We made the low, then we pushed, we pull back, higher low, higher high, then we continue to pump higher. Then we pulled back right now to potentially tap inside this level, and right now we're on the way up to potentially even break above this level. So as you can see, EJ looks pretty bullish, unlike EU. And usually EU and EJ are positively correlated, but once the UJ is also pumping up, this drives all the JPY pairs to the upside as well. So right now it is really tricky to actually figure out what EJ is gonna do next week. Okay, so basically all of those failures to break above, if the market tried once, tried 2 times, right now we're trying to do the 3rd time, all of the orders that are consistent within this structural area right there are being taken out. Okay, so this level is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and I would definitely expect probably next week to continue to carry on to the upside. Okay, but first of all, I would expect the market to pull back a little bit. So where to? Well, this is not yet a major high low. Why? Because it hasn't made a higher high. Okay, but perfectly, I would wait for the market to maybe pull back a little bit somewhere inside this area, then to consolidate, and then to potentially see if we're gonna have some sort of a reaction. You can also, of course, drop to the hourly time frame, and just looking at this price, it doesn't make a lot of sense Like we started right here, we pushed up, we created this beautiful manipulation lower, then we pump into the highs, we retested, beautiful. Then we have this massive pump into the highs, and the market still hasn't come to retest this level right here. And then we created this kind of in-between higher low, which is not really major. So basically, again, guys, EJ, just looking at it, it is kind of shifting to bullish, but it's not 100% yet because of UJ, okay? So what I'm going to be looking for in EJ is to see if it's going to pull me back either to this level or if it's going to pull back either to this level and fail to break lower. Okay, because as long as this low remains, so again, I'm going to mark this as my major higher low because it definitely makes sense. And as long as we remain above this high, then we're good to go. Okay, and actually the market already pulled back below 50%, reacted, and should be on its way to be creating a new higher high. So let's see on market open if we're going to have any pullback, and potentially if we have a pullback, I will be looking for the longs, of course. But let's wait for Monday to develop, and let's see potentially how the USD JPY is going to develop, and then potentially we can judge EJ as well. Let's have a look at the Aussie starting from AU. As I have been telling you guys for a couple of weeks, we are definitely headed towards this little range right there. That is actually the major weekly higher low. Okay, so what you can basically do is you can grab this sort of weekly demand. So as the market taps around like 71.50 to 71, I definitely think we should be expecting a reaction because this is also probably a monthly level. Okay, this is your monthly higher low formation. So basically after the market kind of manipulated to the downside in March 2020, then we actually broke structure to the upside, created a high, then we created this higher low. We impulsed into the highs. The market right now is reacting from this monthly supply right there, but potentially I definitely think we shall be headed above 81, but this is, man, this is super long term. So let me go back to the weekly and maybe even daily. Okay, so let's see what happened this week. Well, yes, we opened pretty bearishly. We immediately opened, we created a little wick up, then we immediately went down, then we kind of found the bottom, then we faked below the previous daily low, we created a bullish candle, then we pulled back, and basically right now it looks like a pretty nice correction. Just in case, let us drop our FIP from the low, from the high to the low, and as you can see that the market is just tapping inside the 50%, which is a really good thing. So basically the correction could actually be already over. Then dropping onto the 4-hourly time frame, let's see some potential areas of interest. So as you can see, again, as I told you, the market kind of consolidated, faked the low, then we expanded into the highs, and right now we are in this consolidation. So basically, this is our daily level right here. This is our daily supply. Why is this daily? Because it consists of 4 candles to the upside. So basically, if I drop to the daily, maybe to the hourly, to the 8-hourly, there is kind of this little push base, and then we actually broke structure down. So for me, this is the major lower high, okay? And right now the market is pulling back and creating this sort of structure. So basically it's not entirely clear yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop to the hourly time frame, and as you can see, the market kind of created this big wick, manipulated above, but it's just kind of faking above, faking below, faking above, then faking below, then up, down. Okay, so it's basically just up and down right now. So what I want to see is a clear violation of hourly structure as well. So there is our hourly demand. So the market pushed up, created this base, then we imposed into the highs, we tested right here, tested there. So basically all the buy orders are being taken from here. So for next week, 2 things that I'm gonna expect, guys. Okay, so if this is actually the lower high formation, then we should be expecting a lower low. But if it's not, then we can expect potentially another move into the highs, maybe even into this zone, and then from there we should definitely see an hourly structure change. But what we have right now is, I don't want to drop a big zone like this, but the market is actually creating some sort of a high. We failed to break above, which is a great indication, and we kind of start trying to break even below. Okay, but for me it will be really important to maybe open a little bit bullish to grab some more liquidity, then to start shifting, and then the first moment that we close below this zone right there on the hourly, then definitely we should start looking for longs and for shorts and taking it all the way down below this level right there. So basically short buys on AU, which resonates with the bullish DXY. Let's see if we're going to continue carrying on to the downside, and definitely targeting all of those levels to the downside. Looks pretty longer term, but let's see how it's going to play out. Currently, as I said, we're just stuck in this consolidation, so definitely waiting for some clear direction in terms of the hourly, and then we can potentially just starting trading the hourly trend if it reverses down. And then have a look at AJ. Of course, as expected, it is more bullish than bearish, but still, as you can see, let's maybe have a look on the daily first. We have this massive drop to the downside. The market taps inside this big range right there. Do we have the same range right there? Well, basically the weekly range right here is already tested. Okay, so this is why we have this big wick. First of all, first rule, those big wicks are gonna get filled. Okay, whenever you find a big wick, they usually get filled at least 50%. Have a look at this big wick, it got filled. Okay, so definitely potentially next week we can expect the market to at least pump down to some of those levels right here. But of course, let's try to see. Currently, I wouldn't really love to trade from this weekly range. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna follow the daily momentum, which is to the downside. We have this low. Sorry, man, what is happening? We have this high, we have this low. The market has already pulled back into above 50%, so we're basically ready to go short. But as you can see, this week has been pretty bullish. So again, in order to identify our major lower high, I'm gonna drop it as a zone. Why is this my major lower high? Because this is the perfect pullback right there, a push, clear pullback, and then a massive shift of structure to the downside, okay? And since then, we have been correctively pushing to the upside. Another little tool that I can give you is to measure the momentum. So from the first bearish candle all the way to the lowest point, it took 4 days and 4 hours. And then for the pullback to occur, it took, yeah, it's gonna take more than 5 days. But basically this is because, guys, because this was formed from the previous week, and this is why. But usually by eye, you can see that we have less bearish candles than we have bullish candles. Okay, so that means that the momentum is still to the downside, and right now the market is creating this sort of, again, compressed price action. So definitely maybe a little fake and then a break, and then we can potentially push to the downside. My biggest tip for AJ will be a violation of hourly structure. So where is your hourly lower high? Higher low, sorry, it's right there. So let's see how the market is going to open. Is it going to manipulate up? Is it going to do anything else? And then what you have to do is you just have to continue following with your newly created structure. So if the market creates a new higher high, then this is one is going to become your higher low. So then after a break of this one, then we start looking for the shorts. Okay, and then basically we have huge downside potentials. But if, of course, the market remains the bullish price action, we should go long, because possibly UJ is going to carry on to the upside and maybe the JPYs are not going to go down. Okay, so basically overall looking for shorts on AU and AJ, but according to me, it will be really important to actually first see a bearish hourly break of structure. So let's wait for that. Let's have a look at the NZDs, which are pretty much a mess, right? The price action resembles the one on the Aussies, and I think we're still headed towards this little range that is basically the major weekly higher low formation. But as you can see from the top, like we created this big wick, then we pushed to the downside, we kind of broke minor structure right there. Then we pulled back and basically created this MSS formation, which is market structure shift, okay? And right now we just created a lower low. So basically this market is perfectly bearish right now, shorter term, even from the weekly time frame. But then dropping onto the daily, like have a look, since 21st of June, basically exactly 1 month, we have been stuck inside this range, which is kind of a, let me measure from the high to the low. Yeah, 200 pips range, not bad for NU, but not too many moves, okay? And basically if I zoom into this week, we opened right there on the 19th of July, we pushed to the downside, then we pulled back, and right now same kind of compressed price. So really interested to see, but if we just follow carefully the structure, we created a lower low right there, which is really good. So where is our major lower high? Well, we have a couple of areas, either this candle, or either the major one. So basically I'm gonna take a big zone like this, and yes, even embrace this little wick right there. So this is my major lower high. So as long as the market remains below, I am gonna be looking for the sells, okay? So very similar to AU, also follow your hourly structure, and let's see if the market is actually gonna push inside this level to maybe also drop on your hourly time frame. Have a look, there is a little level that you can look at right here as well. That is really nice. So I would really love for the market to start bullish, to create some sort of higher high, higher low, then to tap inside this level, and then to break hourly structure. And then as we have a break of hourly structure, that's when we can continue, that's when we can start looking for shorts and just trading all the way down, okay? But if the market, let's say if the market opens bearish and starts breaking structure to the downside and then continues to maintain the bearish flow, then we can potentially continue immediately to start looking for sells, okay? So let's see how this one is gonna go. Definitely looking for sells in terms of 4 hourly time frame on NU, but first of all, we need to see that shift from our mid time frame, which is the hourly, and then potentially we can start dropping even lower to look for beautiful scale-ins and short opportunities. And then have a look at NJ, which is again, as expected, a little bit too bullish, and basically just testing this high right here. But it looks a little bit too bullish, as I keep telling you guys. From the downside right there, perfect, we made a lower low, but then we started massively correcting to the upside. And if you remember my tip from AJ, like the market pushed to the downside, cool, but then the way up is also pretty strong. Like have a look at this, we had a push, we actually broke minor structure right there, which is kind of the hourly time frame. So this is when you can actually flow between the time frames and start taking trades in the opposite direction. So as soon as we broke the major hourly lower high, which is this one, why is it a major? Because it broke structure down, okay? We broke above it, so basically then what we do is we wait for the market to pull back a little bit. There it is, it tapped perfectly to the 50% and also retested this little structural level right there. And there is your long. And then we start heading higher. And right now we are really at the highs. So I'm really interested to see how this one is gonna go. Again, guys, identify your hourly structure. So for me, I would even wait for this one because this is when we consolidated, we created a higher high, pull back, higher low, which is still not a higher low because we haven't broken above. But let's see, according to me for the NZDs, we still need some time. What if this market breaks above? Well, if it breaks above, then we have to readjust because maybe the market is just going to continue trending higher. And of course, what I would advise you to do is just flow as well and then just start following the hourly. Recently, I've been using the hourly a lot because sometimes when you try to flick through, let's say daily, 4 hourly, then hourly, it kind of starts to look a little bit different. But if you understand, like my biggest tip always is to learn how to read the higher time frames on your lower time frames. Okay, so basically the thing that I do right now is I read the hourly or the 15 minute on my 1 minute time frame. So basically you are aware that, where's my 2? That this right here is your major 4 hourly lower high. Okay, but it's not that visible. And then as the market pushes lower, you know that the market has made a low on the 4 hourly time frame. And as soon as you have a break of structure on the hourly, then you drop your FIP and you expect the market to pull back at least above 50%. So there is a beautiful long right there that you could have taken as well, drop to the 1 minute. I can see 2 beautiful wicks right there that potentially could give you a sniper entry, let's say even like this, with a very tight stop loss, and then you potentially ride it into the highs. Okay, so a couple of tips right there, but let's see. For the NZDs, definitely looking for some sort of a shift, and if the hourly time frame turns bearish, then we go short. All right, here's the JPY driver. What we can see right there is a big, huge wick to the downside, and then we have a massive upside kicking in. So definitely a lot of volatility on UJ, not as expected. So what we did is on Monday, we created actually the low of the week with a massive pump to the downside. So basically, this was the higher low right there, but sometimes what the market is going to do, guys, because below lows and above highs, there is liquidity. So basically, any people that are long from right here, they have their stop losses below. So sometimes, even if your structural point is breached, okay, it still remains valid. As long as I keep telling you, as long as the body is not below. And as you can see right there, we beautifully wicked below this level on the daily time frame, and then we reversed and had beautiful long opportunities. Even on the 4 hourly time frame, have a look at this big manipulation right there. And if you start dropping even to the lower time frames, you can see perfectly how the market starts to distribute. Okay, we have a push to the downside, then we have a pullback, then we have a push. The market kind of consolidates, grabs more liquidity, and starts to maintain the bullishness. Okay, so there is your higher low, tap, another break of structure, another pullback, and again doing the same thing, breaking below the higher low, but not closing below it. Another push into the highs, another pullback, and then if you caught this long right there, oh man, this was huge, okay? And then potentially still taking longs along the way, but not entirely clear. This was the trade of the week. Let me know, guys, if you trade UJ. It was massive, massive, massive. So currently, if we focus on the most recent structure, yes, it's pretty clear because right here we pumped up, we consolidated, then we pumped up again, then we pulled back with a clearly identifiable higher low formation. And then we pushed into the highs. And right now we are about to encounter this supply. We're basically already tapping into it. And this supply, according to me, is going to be a cause for the market to pull back. So definitely then I immediately find my higher low demand, which is right there, something like this. And what I'm going to be expecting UJ to do is to give me a pullback, tap inside this level, reverse, and then to potentially see it go higher. Perfectly resonating with a bullish DXY as well, and dropping onto the hourly, it also makes sense. Yep. So right here, we also had some sort of plays. We pushed up, like we consolidated, pump up. We had a manipulation, very strong manipulation down. But if you spot where your major higher low is, it's this wick. Okay. So basically, we beautifully tapped inside this level right there, and then we consolidated and we pumped above again. So for next week, I am bullish. Definitely bullish on UJ, which means that all the JPYs will be kept pushing up. So even if AU, even if NU, even if EU fall down, then EJ, AJ, and NJ are going to have difficulty. So they might start actually consolidating or doing nothing. So let's see, but perfect bullish flow on UJ. So definitely looking for that pullback, potential higher low formation, and then seeing it actually go higher. And in terms of daily, we can even start targeting the highs right there because it definitely looks like shifting. So let's see. But of course, a clear close above this level will be perfect. If the market closes above this level and manages to break above with a body close, then a lot of bullishness will be exposed. So let's see what UJ will have for us next week. All right, let's have a look at the GBPs, as always starting with GU. So this big weekly wick is confusing me a little bit. So definitely what I told you about wicks is usually they get filled, okay? The market will not leave just a huge wick hanging out like this. Again, we have a huge wick right there, but as you can see, sometimes the market will pull away only to come to fill it later, okay? So let's see, definitely not sure what to expect next week, but I would expect a bearish one, or at least the market will open and it will fill 50% of that wick, maybe before showing us upside, but I kind of think that we are about to continue trading lower because on the daily time frame we have this structure break to the downside. The market is pulling back already into the 50% range, so definitely I think we're ready to sell off. And then a little daily zone as well, which is the daily lower high formation. So as long as the market remains below this one on the daily, we are actually strongly sells, okay? So this week was pretty tricky. If you remember from the previous outlook, the market was sitting somewhere right here and I was expecting a pullback and then a short. But what the market did, it just started rocketing down. It just rocketed or dumped to the downside. I shouldn't be saying rocketing. Rocketing is from the upside, right? But yes, it dumped to the downside and then we basically found this low on the 20th and the 21st of July. And according to me, my community also crushed GU this week, but we had a couple of trades to take. First of all, it was shorts on the way down, a couple of shorts right there. And then basically as the market started distributing for the longs, this is where you can potentially start taking longs, okay? Long right there, long there, long there, long there. Then we pump into the highs, another long right here, another long right there. And then today also I saw some people taking shorts from right here as well, okay? But yes, GU definitely very strange. We just had a pump down and then we had a pump up. But currently, where are we? Where we are kind of above 50%. So basically it is kind of ready to sell off. I personally think we might create another little pump to the upside because according to me, this high is not really strong. Like usually with highs, I want to see a clearly identifiable high with a nice kind of like this. This is a clear high because it has a push and I'm immediately pushed down. It's not flat. Okay, and this one is pretty flat, so I would still expect another kind of a sharp V formation into the highs and then to potentially start reversing down. So expecting a little run up, and if we expect a little run up, we can trade it, of course, to the upside. Okay, so basically I would love to sell GU somewhere inside those levels right here. Okay, but currently in terms of the hourly time frame, well, we have this wick that was tested, we have this level as well that hasn't been tested, so yeah, pretty much not really making sense to me personally. So let's see, but I am overall sell bias, and I would, maybe we can have a scenario like this, or the other scenario is the market to push up, and then potentially I'm going to be looking for the shorts. Okay, so that is my plan on GU, guys. Definitely just trading from the daily. You can see that this week I kind of have more of a swing trading perspective because I'm more adapted in the holiday mood. So I will be monitoring the market and potentially just trade like 4 hourly and hourly time frame. So for example, if I see the market come inside right there and the hourly starting to reject, then potentially I'm gonna drop to the 15 and 10 to maybe look for some sort of a structured shift just to initiate a trade on. Okay, but no 1 minute charts for me for this week. Cool. But yep, basically short bias on GU, and GJ is a little bit tricky again. So what you can see is we again started with a massive sell-off. We kind of created this big V-shaped formation. Again, as I told you, you don't want to see the highs or the lows to be like flat. There is a perfect low. There is a perfect high right there. This is not really perfect right there, so it's gonna get taken out at some point in time. But right now, this is our zone right here, and the market is already in. And look how it gets in. Okay, first we get that flat price. We had a big buy. So right now, at the beginning of next week, if we have a bearish structure change on the hourly, I'm going sells. Okay, so basically right now the market is retesting this little hourly supply. Possibly we can expect a little bit of a fake to the upside again. And then guys, make sure to identify your hourly high or low. So it could be either this little one or it could be this one as well. Let's see how it's going to develop. But if we have a structural change on the hourly time frame, then definitely that can expose a lot of downside. All right. So on GJ, I'm going to be looking for the bears to enter the market first, and then potentially just looking for the pullback and a continuation down. For hourly time frame, what I'm worried a little bit about is this big sell and then a big buy. Okay, the little trick that I told you, but it's not valid because basically this is a new open. But measure how many candles you have to the downside. So basically we have 12 bars to the downside, and to the upside we have 19 bars. So yes, that means that the sell momentum is bigger than the buy momentum. But yes, let's see. According to me, a shift of structure as on, across all currency pairs that I broke down so far, it will be required. GA, yeah, man, I have nothing to say about this pair. I'm sorry guys, but it's just so messy. I was looking at this major higher low right there, then the market pumped up, continued to trade higher, broke structure, and is just right now creating this very messy flag-like formation. Okay, so if you're trading this one, then I would advise to drop to the hourly time frame. Oh man, my eyes hurt just by looking this price. So definitely for GA guys, I'm gonna take a holiday from GA as well. Cool, so let's see. Let's have a look at Euro GBP. Yeah, Euro GBP was nice. So basically we have this massive impulse to the upside, the market breaking structure above after manipulating to the downside. And also if you build some context, maybe from the daily, the market reached that low and then we broke daily structure right here, which makes this a very strong daily demand. The market tapped inside this demand and then broke daily structure again. So this is really strong because we have all of this trendline liquidity right now to be taking to the upside. So we have this higher high and right now potentially we are about to create a higher low. So let's see, it is really tricky right now. Potential level, there it is. We already tapped, we already reacted, but it's still bearish. It's still too bearish on the 4 hourly. So guys, again, I repeat myself, but exactly the same. What I need to see is the hourly time frame to become bullish. We have some little signs right there because the market pulled back into this level, created a lower high, but then it failed to break lower. But still, what could happen is the market generating this little trend line, then breaking it, and then actually starting to change the structure. Okay, currently this is my major lower high. No, it's not this one because this one did not make a low. But if we have a close above this wick right there and perfectly above this one, that's when I'm gonna turn bullish on Euro GBP. Okay, and that's when we can actually start selling GU and GJ potentially as well. So let's see, we have the overall bias, which is overall sells for the GBP. Euro GBP also looks kind of in a nice buy setup in terms of the higher time frames. So I'm really curious to see how this one is gonna develop. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Are you bullish or bearish on the GBP? Do you think GU will continue dropping, or do you think we're actually finding support? Let's see, but excited to be monitoring next week and to potentially grab some swing trades. So let's see. Let's have a look at gold, which is again a little bit tricky right there, stuck inside this range. But again, we had a massive pump to the upside. The market went all the way down to actually retest this higher low. Why is this a higher low? Because this is the last clear pullback before the market initiated higher. And yeah, then it took the market 230 days to pull back towards that level. Then we had a beautiful reaction to the upside, but what we did is we just went to test this wick right there. And then again, you can see the volume entering from that wick. Okay, we tapped right here, and right now we are just stuck inside the middle right there. So it's really, really, really tricky to know what's gonna happen. According to me, we can still pull back a little bit to the downside because again, if this level was tapped already, which is not tapped completely, we create a new daily level, which is this one. Okay, so basically those are all levels that I'm looking at right now, and currently the market is in the middle just chopping around. Okay, yes, you can drop to the lower time frames to find some intraday opportunities, but according to me there is really nothing very clear right now on gold. So for me, I would love to see the market pull back a little bit lower towards that level right there, around 70.60, 70.50 even. Yeah, 70.50 is a little bit too low. 70.50 is where I was looking for the buy. So basically, I would love to see it go above 70.50 because if it stays above the range around 17.60, then it's going to maintain a new higher low formation. So if the market pulls back right there, creates the structure, and then we start pumping up, then that's going to be nice. Okay, and as you can see, very recently, we also started shifting a little bit to the downside. Okay. So definitely potentially in about this complex correction right now, but the momentum to the upside is also not really clear. Okay, like this push to the upside is not a push and this is not a pullback, because basically this is the push and this is the pullback. So potentially the market is heading even lower. So again, guys, let me know your thoughts on gold. I always listen to you guys for some of your gold experts. So let me know. But personally, I would perceive the market to pull back inside this level and then anticipate to potentially see upside. But if we first see upside, potentially the market tapping inside, I will be really mindful and monitoring how it's going to react right here, because this is a major base. So the market dropped, created this little base, and then we even drop further to the downside. So if you pull back inside this level, then potentially I'm going to be looking for shorts as well. But right now, the market is exactly stuck in the middle right there. So danger zone for gold. Let's see where it's going to go. An amazing week for the stock market, and I'm really pissed that I missed my opportunity actually, because we had a beautiful dip right there, as you can see on US30, and right now we're headed all the way up towards creating new all-time highs. So again, as you can see, this was a dip of 4%, which is a beautiful buying opportunity for me. And as you can see, we keep maintaining those higher lows. We had this little dip right there, and the market continued to push up. But basically what we had this week is this big dip. So I was seeking some of those levels right there. But as you can see, the market went all the way down to come inside some of those ranges right here. And then we shifted structure. And right now we're sitting exactly at the highs. Okay, so about to create a new higher high. So potentially then, this becomes my new higher low, which I'm going to be looking at. So maybe we can create a high, then the market can pull back, sharply drop, and then we can continue pushing up. But overall, extremely bullish US30. Really nice. And I know a lot of guys that capitalized a lot on US30 because it's been insane. So great job on all of you. NASDAQ as well, already pumping up, man. Look at that. Look at that beauty right there. So again, it didn't perfectly respect the full hourly levels. And what we actually did, guys, is, do I delete all my drawings? Yes, I do. We tapped inside this little daily base right there. And again, what I told you is the base or your higher low is still valid as long as it doesn't close with a body below. And if you look carefully, this is not a body close below the zone. All right, so perfectly respected everything. And then we continue to just massively impulse to the upside. Okay, we had a push, we had a pullback, higher low. And yes, right now we're at a big all-time highs. Like, it's just not stopping. I wonder when a real crash will come. And also those little dips, because I mainly trade S&P 500. But yes, as for NASDAQ, then any pullback is welcome. Any pullback. Personally, what I'm going to do is maybe drop the FIP. As the market creates the high, I'm going to drop my FIP, and I will be perfectly looking to buy below 50%. Okay, so definitely it will need some time to develop. I would not recommend you guys to go short, because you never know when this market is going to go short. If you don't have, of course, an hourly change of structure, something like this. You can see the market creates a high, fails to break the high, fails to break the high. This is your first lower low. There's your pullback. There's your beautiful short. Okay, so let's see. And on S&P, this was my beautiful golden short buy opportunity, because it was a 366% retracement, and I was actually ready to buy, but then the stock market was not open, and then the market opened up with a little bit of a gap on the instrument that I'm trading. And I was like, cool, let's wait a little bit for the market to actually retrace a little bit further, and then I actually missed it. So if I actually show you this one, I think, so if I drop like this, yeah, I'm not sure. But yes, I was looking to buy it right here, and then the market actually opened somewhere right there. Then it pulled back, and I was like, come on, man, boom it back a little bit lower. I also had alert set, I think, at the gap fill, somewhere right there. But it didn't pull me back, and then it just continued to flush, so that was not really nice. But right now, again, all-time highs on S&P 500. So again, any retracement is welcome. But missed the golden buy opportunity, so let's see if we're gonna have any further one. But this one right now is a major higher low, so let's see how the market is going to develop and how it's going to pull back to potentially catch another long. And again, a little tip, drop your FIP, and as long as the market drops below 50%, this can be another pretty nice buy opportunity. But for me, I usually always buy once it drops below 3%, and this one was a golden opportunity, but I missed it, unfortunately. So on to the next one. All right, guys. And this is how I'm going to wrap up this video. A little bit fast this week and a little bit more in lesser details, but this is because I'm not going to be trading, and I wasn't really into the zone this week as well. So I'm not really into the, as I said, into the market. So I'm going to take a week or two out of the markets. But of course, I'm going to keep providing value, sharing on Instagram as well, and planning also YouTube content, because as I return back home around September, I am gonna go all in on content and really improve everything. Okay, so make sure you stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button as well, make sure to take a little rest as well, and I wish all of you guys a crushing week. And if you have any questions, you always know where to find me.